So guys, welcome back to Married 2. I'm Charlie, and this is the birthday girl.
It's your birthday?
What's up? It is.
Birthday.
Thank you.
I don't know
Yeah.
what to say that
It's her birthday
It's
today.
okay.
She already had a nice birthday present last night and this morning. So
Yeah.
no, that's not a perverted joke either. So don't take it that way. I know. Actually, when I said that out loud, I think that actually kind of did sound bad. So,
Yeah. No, I did.
No, the girls
Decorated.
waited for you to fall asleep. Was like, when she falls asleep, come let us know. And
Yeah.
of course, Sis passed out on the couch, so I had to go wake her up anyway. But
Yeah. Well, I will say
I
it
was
was
really
a surprising shock this morning because, of course, all the lights were off in the house and I was not awake and I ran into said balloons, tripped over said balloons, and finally made it to the bathroom. So it was interesting.
how'd you spend your birthday and your 37th? Well,
Right.
ran into my balloons and peed on the floor.
That's when you're getting old, is when you just can't see anymore.
So kind of continuing on part 2 of what we talked about last time, we kind of started to dive into needs in a marriage, the difference between what a wife needs versus a husband. For wives, I know you said there was communication, there was, that was the big one we talked about.
Yeah.
And then we got into, briefly, you said, like, we'll call it love/affection type stuff, but
No. So my second one was respect. You have to have communication. I feel like you have to have respect for each other, which I think oftentimes is very hard to do, especially when you're angry. So that was my other one.
well, I guess define respect for that, because I guess we really didn't get to dive into that part at all. So
I think
what do women view as respect?
And I think women are just as guilty of this because we have a lot of emotion as well. But I think it's, and you can testify to this, and I mean, especially when my hormones were way more out of whack. But I feel like when you get angry, things are said that you don't mean. So I think it's having the respect to walk away from a situation if you need to, not to hurt the other person, and also having respect for the person in the sense of, when you are angry, not leading into the anger or frustration or whatever, and having respect for all they do in the relationship. Does that make sense? Okay, so
I mean, that doesn't sound like respect, though. I mean, that sounds more like appreciation, or I would call it love in the first part of things too. Like,
yeah, but okay,
love
so
is doing something despite how you feel. So if I'm angry and I feel like yelling at you, not yelling at you is a sign of love, not a sign of respect.
well, and I guess the way, and maybe it's not respect that I'm looking for, but one of the very big things I think that really set this off for me was when I used to, and this has been a long time ago, so I don't know if you'll even remember, but I'm sure you probably will. I used to look at like Instagram, and I would be like, oh, look at this person, like they post and they do all this and blah, blah, blah. But yet you were the one twirling me around in the kitchen and dancing with me and singing to me and telling me that you loved me and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So I think it was having enough. I guess the reason that I say respect is because I feel like in a sense it was almost like I was belittling what you were doing, and I was taking away that instead of just simply being like,
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna kind of quickly step into that train of thought.
Yeah.
You're talking about respecting me at that point. You're not talking about you guys needing respect. So that's what's specific. I'm not saying like what women need in the relationship for men or for whatever. I'm saying from their husband, what specifically do women need?
Well,
So
but
you
that's
said
what I'm saying, though.
communication.
I think we need the same thing, right? Like, I think oftentimes it's the same way. Like, you guys don't respect what all we do in the relationship because to you it doesn't matter.
Or
Like,
respect or appreciate.
probably both. I feel like it comes along with a sense of respect because it's kind of like, well, you didn't do anything all day long, but you don't see that the baseboards are clean or that the shower's clean or like all of those things that we just handle. But in vice versa, like there's a lot of times I don't see all the things that you handle Great scenario not too long ago, especially with working together. Like, I was at home sick and I got to watch you physically going through, your brain and your agenda and watching you knock things off your list. And I'm like, wow, like, I didn't realize all the things you do in a day, but I don't get to see it firsthand, especially now that we're in two different locations. So I think it's having that respect of saying, like, you know what, I married this person. Not only do I appreciate all the things that you do, but I'm trying to respect your time. Does that make sense? So, like, when in business, I try not to bring you anybody unless I feel like, okay, like, first step interview process normally goes through me, right? Like, I try to weed out all the people that I'm like, okay, this person's not even worth you interviewing. Or even in, like, marketing, right? Like, I will handle all of that and say, no, we're not going to go forward because this is a waste of your time. You know what I mean? So the same thing in the relationship. Like, I feel like there has to be a sense of respect when you are looking at the other person's time or valuing what they do. But in the same thing with an argument, having the respect to say, like I know you didn't like in the beginning when I would just leave, but for me, I knew I didn't want to hurt you, and being able to leave the situation and knowing that for me, I needed to calm down before I talked to you was a sign of respect for you, because I didn't want to hurt you. And there was times
once again, you're getting back and forth to the putting this in both sides of a relationship, like.
But I think what I'm saying is, though, is that I feel like women do need that. Like, I don't think, like, I did that for you. You see what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing. Respect doesn't mean I'm going to acknowledge what you do around the house. That's not what respect means.
No, I mean, that's more appreciation. But I'm saying, like, in the sense of respect, right? It would be more along the lines of, I am going to make sure that I rinse off my plate because she has to do all of the dishes, right?
You don't, but go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to give an instance, right? Like, or like, hey, I'm going to take my shoes off at the front door because she sweeps the house every day. You see what I'm saying? Like, simple things like that I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in relationships until people blow up. So I think setting your like standards, and then also having that respect of, like, hey, I'm gonna take my shoes off because she does sweep. Or, like, for you, toilet paper, you hate the way that the toilet paper thing's done, and I didn't have enough respect. Like, still, I don't even know if I do it the way that you like.
First off, there is a correct way for toilet paper to go on the dispenser. Like, it's patented a certain way and everything. Like, the toilet paper goes over the roll. It does not go behind the roll.
Okay.
So that's patented. That's
so then
really
I think
debatable.
I do it the right way then. I'm pretty sure.
I think you honestly just throw it on there and it is what it is. So,
but
if you want to talk about the dispenser and you tried to hang it on the wall, we could go over that because it's.
But I think we just oftentimes, and for women, I think that more or less is, we feel like we're not heard. And I think sometimes it goes the same way for men. I just think you guys have gotten to the point of where, like, it is what it is, kind of like you've said about, like, you just don't want to have arguments based on it. But I know for myself, when you really asked this question, that was one for me where I'm like, I don't know that I've paid attention to too many things that you have asked specifically, or even with the kids. Like, it's really hard for a single mom to have respect to say, you know what, I respect your decision on saying no to my kids doing XYZ, right? Like, so I guess that's my thing. But
well, and like, once again, I mean, I'm not trying to say you're wrong on what your intent is, but, like, I would challenge your notion to say that communication, respect are not top two for women. I could argue communication, especially in the form of just appreciation or feeling heard, but, like, a lot of the things that you're calling respect, you're kind of doubling up in an extremely broad
sense.
Yeah, like, for example, if it was just respect that you cared about, then if I stopped dancing you at the kitchen, if I stopped buying you flowers, if I stopped taking you to dinner, if I stopped doing these things, you would still be perfectly fine, and that is not the case. So to say that you value respect over love or appreciation, to me is absolutely incorrect. Because if it was just as simple as respect, and the biggest example I'll give you is like, you've bought me, I don't know if you ever even have, actually just bought me flowers. I think one time it's kind of like a joke response to something I said one time. I don't care. I've never thought twice about it. You buy me Father's Day stuff or birthday stuff, I don't care. I don't want it. I don't like, and I don't mean that like in a mean way. It's just I don't care. I don't want it. I don't need stuff. Like the other day, you're like, dude, I thought of you and I bought you this pan and stuff. Like I don't care that you like. That doesn't speak to me as a man. Like
Right.
I'm appreciative that you thought about me, and I like that my wife is thinking about me in that sense of things, which I know is a lot of times the same way for women. But like the gift itself or that part of it doesn't mean nearly as much to me as even as stupid as it sounds, even you saying, hey, I always interview people first because I don't want to waste your time if it's someone I don't like. Like that means more to me than you buying me a pot and pan when you went out the other night.
Right.
Like, and that's where I'll say, like, men value respect over love and appreciation. I truly believe women value the love and appreciation more than the respect.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't
Right.
think that we do. I think we've gotten lost in that. I think social media has changed it to where we want to feel appreciated and loved and all those things. But in reality, we're like, hey, just take your freaking shoes off when you come in the house so I don't have to sweep for the 20th time in a row. Right? And that, to me, is more respect than appreciation.
Is it respect, or is it you not feeling loved because if they cared about you, they would take that off so they wouldn't make their life harder?
I don't know. I think
Because most of the time that argument's actually with the kids than it is the husband. So,
and I'm not going to
and that's,
disagree. But
once again, so that's kind of what I'm saying is like, I'm asking you, what does a wife need from a husband? Like, you're still giving me examples of things like you argue with the kids about, taking their shoes off. Like, okay, I wear flip-flops. I kick mine off all the time. Like, mine chill wherever. Stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm like, specifically from me, in order for a relationship to be successful, you're saying communication and respect.
So for me,
that sounds like a business partner. There's no affection. There's no cuddling and watching movies. There's no dancing in the kitchen. There's no flowers on a Tuesday. There's no going for walks outside and holding hands and doing dates.
yeah, but I'm saying what I think the top two is communication and respect.
And because
I think it has to start there.
I would
really
challenge
do.
that because, and I mean this in the nice way possible, and I know some husbands will agree or disagree in the sense of it, so I'll kind of try to explain it a little better than just saying it, but I'll challenge that in the sense because in the nice way I can say it, like, I've never viewed you as someone I respect, not in the sense that like I don't, but it's the sense of like you're someone that I love, which means despite how I feel, I'm going to do whatever is going to
But
make
isn't
your
honor
life
and
best.
respect the same thing?
Isn't what?
Isn't honor and respect the same thing?
Absolutely not. If they're the same thing, there wouldn't be two words for it. They're similar, I'm not going to argue that, but like when you talk about someone's honor, you talk about more like their dignity, their integrity, like, and then to honor someone, like to honor God is to exalt them and praise them and worship them and things like that. We're honoring you, we're all standing in ovation, we're doing these things. Respecting someone is, calling a doctor. I'm going to show you the respect you've earned because you went through 10 years of school to earn a title, so I'm going to respect you enough to call you doctor. Right? I'm going to respect you enough that when you say take this pill, I'm going to take it. Right? There's no affection there. There's no meaning to it. It's a simple value of exchange versus any term of endearment. So like with you,
But I feel like you have to have both.
well, no, because like with you, you're like, hey, I don't want you to raise your voice at me because you respect me. It's like, no, like if I respect you or don't respect you, I'll still raise my voice with you if the time comes to it. That has nothing to do with anything. I can respect you and still be very firm in what I'm saying. If I love you and I know this upsets you, I will avoid it at all costs. Right? So I guess, like, I understand the intent of what you're saying. I think we just disagree on what we'd label it as.
Okay. I think for me, it's just, let me put it this way. You can be like, and I guess that's where respect goes, in my opinion. And again, maybe I'm not labeling it the right way, but for me, it's one of those where, okay, say something bothers me, right, that you've done. And I'm like, hey, this bothers me, you've done this. Then for me, it's you saying that you have enough respect to work on this and to fix it, instead of doing the love, the affection, all that stuff, and saying, oh, okay, this bothers her. I'm now going to show her love and affection, and I'm going to shower her with all these things, but I'm still not going to fix the problem. Does that make sense? Like, I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, which maybe is, again, not respect. Maybe that's
right. So
I mean, honor, I guess.
no,
I don't know,
it's still go back to love. Like I said, love is doing something despite how you feel.
Right.
So when you say, hey, this bothers me, or you need to work on this, that's uncomfortable. Most people don't like that, right? That's hard. So despite how that feels to me, because it bothers you, I will work on it, right?
Okay.
That's a sign of love, not a sign of respect. Respect is way less, right?
Okay, so by definition, respect is what?
Definition is an understanding that someone or something is important, serious, and deserves the treatment and regard as such. So to say someone is serious or important in their role, you're giving them value, right?
Okay, so what I have for respect is a positive feeling of admiration or esteem.
Google or the actual dictionary, because Google is just going to put stuff together to kind of.
Mine is the Stanford Encyclopedia.
Okay, I'm on Webster's, so.
Okay. It says a positive feeling of admiration or esteem for a person or entity involving high regard for their value, dignity, and rights.
Right. So once again, so it's a value system.
Right.
It's not an endearment or a service system.
Okay.
Right. It's a value. I will respect my truck because it costs a lot of money. So I will make sure to do what it has to be done. I'm not going to bang it with a hammer, right? I'm going to respect my property.
Right, which is.
But I'm not going to go out of my way
way
to wash it and do this and do that. Like, it's not the same thing, right?
Yes.
It's an intrinsic value with no. Right, like there's no. It's not an emotional value, right?
Okay, so let me ask you this: when you think
it's
of
a money value, it's a respect. It's not a.
Right.
Right.
But how do you tie that into what the definition of respect is? You see what I'm saying? Because like you were supposed to respect your elders.
So yeah,
right.
That's an example. So respect your elders, right? So respect your elders. Hey man. She needs to sit down, respect your elders, and stand up, right? Let her have your seat, right?
Okay.
That's a respect of this person has earned the right to now have a seat. They've been here a long time. They are a higher value than me in the sense of that, right? It's not a, wow, I bet this person's tired. I care about them. I want them to be comfortable. This would be better for them. So I'm going to get up and be uncomfortable so they can sit down, right? One's a love approach of wanting to take care of someone, to appreciate someone, to better someone's life and do things for that person despite what it does to me. And one is very intrinsic of the president walks by, you stand up, right?
Okay.
So it's they're similar, and that's why, like, you know,
I guess
marriage vows are love and honor.
The reason that I say this is because in previous relationships, right? Like,
right.
Let's go back to my most recent. Like, before you, my last marriage, like, it was, I screwed up, I cheated, right? And then it's, but I'm gonna fix this.
Okay.
And then cheated again and again and
Right.
again and again. So like, what I'm saying is there wasn't enough respect as a value of a person for him to actually genuinely work on it.
Okay.
Like, it was, fuck it, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
So
I guess that's what I'm saying when I say, like,
you respect the boundaries of your relationship for what you agreed to. You
Right.
change who you are and you work on improving the quality of something because you love them.
but let me, so yeah,
that
but here's what I'm saying though. I hate this term, and women, just stop with the whole love bombing and all that, and narcissistic and all that. God, I can't stand that. But love bombing in the sense
I don't know what
is a
love
very
bombing is.
real thing, but women, you're making yourself sound pathetic. When you genuinely think about what love bombing is 100%, I'm going to believe everything they say, and it's going to be sunshines and rainbows and blah, blah, blah. Stop saying it. It's embarrassing. But in a sense, I was love bombed. But to be more honest and real about it, I was told, right? I had respect that my husband was going to fix XYZ because I thought highly of him, right? Like, I thought, no, he loves and respects me enough that he's going to actually work on this. So then I would get the good morning, I love you text, or you're beautiful, or whatever.
Right.
Which then trickled into our marriage, because when you're not saying good morning, beautiful, and I love you, and not everything sunshines and rainbows, and you're more honest and real, then I'm not paying attention to you dancing me around in the kitchen and things like that. So you're, how do I put this? It taught me a sense of respect for myself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
To start appreciating the things that you were doing versus all of that. But it also made me start holding myself to a different standard, right? Like, when we first got together, like, I was like, you will have XYZ. And you were like, you're not going to punish me off of previous relationships. This is who I am. Either you're marrying me for this or you're not, right? Like, we were going to work at it together. And so I think that is what I'm saying when I say respect, is like, I respect myself, right? Like, I have to do that. But
Yeah.
I also need to know that my husband respects who I am, right? Like, if I'm walking into a room and you're walking behind me, you have enough respect to say, whatever happens in this room, like, I stand behind her and who she is. Now, I do think that is more in probably the workspace than it probably is in the marriage, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, more times than not, I feel like it's probably related to work. And I see where you're coming from when it's like the things of the house. But, like, for instance, in a respect sense, if I am at home, I guess for me, the way that I see respect is my husband's been working all day. When he comes home, I know that he needs to eat something because very quickly he's going to have to go back to bed, like, so he can get up and do this all over again the next day. So I guess I have a
Okay.
respect for your
So
time, your value, like, all of those
That's
things.
a good example to kind of get, I hope, to try to make my point a little better with that.
Yeah.
Who's someone you respect outside of me? Like, just someone you respect. Like, in general, you say this person has my respect, right? Who?
I have no idea.
It doesn't have to be anything specific. You know, you could say, like, it really doesn't matter who. Like,
That's the hard part. I mean, it really is, because at this point nowadays, I feel like there's not too many people that I do, because there's not too many people that have that respect for themselves that will walk into a room and
Okay.
say,
well, first
okay,
off,
actually, let me give you an example, and this one's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, so let me go ahead and go down this road. But no, I'm going to shut up on that before I even get ahead of myself. Somebody that I wanted to say was Leo Skepi, because the man values who he is. He doesn't care what people think. He doesn't care what happens. Like, he wanted a relationship with God. Since then has fallen off, let's be clear. But he also said, I'm going to have enough respect myself, even though I value myself as gay. I'm not going to sleep with men because of enjoyment or whatever the case is. He said, I have a hard time with this and I struggle with this. Now, in the sense of respecting himself, yeah, he still smokes and he does all that and blah, 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 blah. So maybe he doesn't carry himself to the highest of regards of respect, but that is somebody that I was like, wow, I really value how honest and true and real he's being with everything.
So I guess 2 parts of that. First and foremost, what you do for someone else has nothing to do with what they do for themselves. If he doesn't respect himself, that has nothing to do with me respecting him.
Right.
So let's make that part clear. Someone doesn't have to respect themselves for you to respect them. So to say that you do or don't because people don't respect themselves has nothing to do with them, that you don't respect them. That's a you thing. But to tie into that, we'll say before whatever happened, I don't know anything about the dude. I really don't care. You said you respected him. So would you have cooked him dinner when he came home?
I mean, I guess. Like,
no, the answer is no, right? And that's my point.
I mean, I don't know
so
the guy.
So that's the difference between respect and love.
Yeah,
you
but
said,
I'm just
I
saying,
know you're going to be tired and hungry when you come home, so I'm going to cook you food, right?
Right.
That's
right.
love. That's not respect.
But it's your time. It is.
Right,
That's what I'm saying.
That's
is I respect
right.
your time.
You respect my time, which is why you're trying not to waste it.
Right.
You love me, so you go out of your way to do things to make my time easier.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah. And
right?
that's what I'm saying. I feel like they can be very much like intertwined. You know what I mean? But I feel like if you don't have those two together.
And I think love is a greater form of respect.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with love versus respect debate is like respect is very basic.
Okay, so let me say this. I guess love without respect looks a lot like I made you dinner and I'm now expecting you to be like, "Oh, thank you." Versus, I guess
no, because that's not love.
But I feel like love with respect is very much I do it because.
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna hop in 2 parts. And we're gonna actually backtrack a little bit too.
Okay.
Most people never actually love someone. I would say 98% of people in the world have actually never actually loved someone, because everything they do is in a selfish sense, and love is not selfish. People, and this is my favorite one. I say, "Why do you love him? Like, what makes you love him?" Dude, I just love the way I feel when I'm around him. Yeah, you love the way you feel. You don't love him. You love the feeling. You love feeling good. You love feeling taken care of.
But then how do you do that?
That's not love.
How do you say that, though?
How do I say what?
I mean, let's go to my first marriage. Let's go ahead and go there.
Right.
How do you say that people haven't loved somebody? Because you know the hell I went through in that marriage. Yeah. He attempted suicide on multiple occasions. He cheated.
I will say it straight to your face. He did not love you.
No, he didn't love me, but how do you say that?
I didn't say you didn't love him.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying is like, you say most people, so I'm thinking, okay,
when
you're
I talk
like.
to a lot of younger couples or even stuff like that, I'm like, what is it about your husband? What is it about your wife that you love?
Right.
Oh man, I just love the way that she makes me feel so special. So you love feeling special. You don't love her, you love the way she makes you feel, which is selfish.
So what you're saying is they never take the time to actually figure out what they love about the other person.
Well, it's not that. It's Hollywood has painted this picture of love as rainbows and butterflies, and it's this feeling that we can't help, and that's absolute garbage. The Bible doesn't say marry who you love.
But see, I don't agree. I don't agree because every single movie that I watch, okay, every single one, and girls, I will argue this until I am blue in the face.
So we'll go through each and every movie you watch.
Okay, and that's fine, but I have been through the trenches in 3 failed marriages before you.
Okay.
And I thought that was love.
Okay.
Right? But love is the sense of when I'm standing on my back patio and I'm bawling my eyes out because I want to divorce you.
Right.
And I know that that is a feeling.
Okay.
But when I wake up or in moments later, I have like that moment that night when I'm standing on the back patio and I am doing that, like I stand in front of a man who, as I see your face, I'm seeing all of those movies. Like, you are the knight in shining armor in every single one of those
Okay.
movies that I've ever
So,
seen. So like,
let me pause you real quick. You said verbatim, I wanted to,
but that was a feeling.
but I didn't.
Right.
Right?
So that
once
is
again,
love.
love is doing something despite
Yeah.
how you feel.
But but that's what you're not understanding is out of all of those movies, right? Like all of those movies that I watch, and it's like, yes, it's sunshine and rainbows. Women don't for 2 seconds take what he's saying and get that twisted, because I'm telling you right now, that in its sense is on those dark moments right there, okay? When I was like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm all of those things, right? In that moment, every movie that says blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
it was, that is my husband. That is who you truly are, right?
Okay,
You are the
so-
person that does when I'm tired and I'm exhausted, or in that night when all of my dark demons are coming out from previous relationships.
Yep.
That is what gets me through, is knowing when I watch these movies, while we may not be in Tuscany and we're sipping on wine and running through fields, that is how I feel, right? That is how I feel when I look at you. And that's where that is something you'll never understand, which is okay.
Okay.
You won't.
No,
But that's
no, I
what we
won't.
spend a lifetime looking for. Now,
Correct.
women, hold on, let me tell you this. In a sense, he is right? Because they're painting a picture. But in your heart,
Well-
when you finally find the love of your life, there's been multiple times that I want to give up because I'm tired or I'm exhausted or whatever. Or let's be honest, it's because of past trauma that I want to give up. But when you find that, every single love movie that there ever is not that you're chasing that in that movie. You now realize that every single moment in that, like, I may see this movie and be like, oh, that's so cute. But then my brain goes with, my husband's done something similar like that to give me that feeling. There's never a time that I look at those movies now and wish for a love that's any different than what I have right now. Does that make sense?
So,
And that's why I will tell you all, I get very irritated with him when he makes fun of my movies, because when
I'll make
he's
fun of
tired,
them, but go ahead.
you do. When he's tired and I'm tired and you're playing your Xbox and I'm watching this, it's literally just that feeling of like, I
She bought me a
enjoy,
PlayStation like 6 months ago. She brings it up all the time.
and I still call it an Xbox. I still call it an Xbox.
I know.
But like for me, it's that feeling. And how often, more times than not, do I watch my movie and I get up and I come in and I give you a kiss, or I love on you for a minute or something like that?
Usually go in there and talk crap that I'm playing PlayStation.
I probably do, yeah. But I still love on you. Or like, you know,
So-
I'm in a cuddly mood or whatever.
Once again, you're literally saying, once again, despite how I feel, I chose you. Which is what I've said 1,000 times now love is. Love is doing
Yeah.
something despite how you feel, which is what I've said repeatedly. Now, the girly movies I'm talking about, every single one of them, 98% of girly movies that they love is a girl who's in a relationship with somebody, takes off, cheats on him because he makes her feel alive and fun and appreciated. She loves how she feels and chooses someone who gives her that feeling, right?
Right.
That is not love. That is chasing feelings, happiness, joy, all these different things. So, Twilight. You can look at Twilight. You can look at The
But no,
Notebook,
but
right?
no, it's
You can-
not,
Hold
because-
on. I
no,
let you
because
talk. I let you talk. It's
All right.
my turn.
All right.
All right? Every single one of them is literally a girl in a relationship
Okay.
cheating in the relationship for someone who makes her feel better.
Not
That is
always.
not love.
Okay.
Love is despite
90%
how
of the
you feel.
90%
when
of
we
the
watch
ones.
the one, I let you talk.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Those ones don't bring us the feelings that
So
you're talking about.
this
but-
is the talk we're
okay.
talking about as far as the respect, right? I let you talk. Now it's my turn.
Okay.
Um,
You're just twisting movies. That's what's frustrating.
I'm saying from a man's perspective, look at the grand scheme of what happened in this 2-hour movie. She was in a relationship. She cheated on him with someone who made her feel good.
Yeah, but those aren't the
And what do we
movies.
see nowadays in relationships? Men do it. Women do it. oh, well,
But those aren't
my
the
wife's
movies.
not putting out, but this girl will. So you see Jimmy taking off, screwing everything that walks.
But the
because,
ones that give us
oh,
the
how dare she?
the
And
ones
then
that give
vice
us the
versa
feelings,
with
though,
women.
are the ones where
Oh, my
it's women
husband didn't dance
searching
with me
for
in the
love.
kitchen, right? But that's not love. You're not searching for love. You're searching for a feeling of feeling good, feeling significant, feeling appreciated.
No, you're
searching
searching
for a void
you're
that you
searching
already
for
have.
somebody that
and
brings
you're still not
you-
letting me talk, which is what we've talked about repeatedly.
Ah.
He basically said respect, and you still keep cutting me off repeatedly. So,
Because you're twisting it.
no, I'm not. I
You
am
are.
pointing out exactly what is happening, and women cannot accept that because they want to justify that the girl's leaving because he didn't make her happy. And that's not what love is. If love was based off us being happy, we would not be together here in 10 years.
Okay.
We would have been done within the first 3 months, right? On Saturday night, when you're texting me saying, I'm done, stay at the gym, blah, 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 I'd have been like, cool, see ya. No, it's despite how that makes me feel, because that hurt. I know you're hurting. I'm going to come comfort you and make sure you know that I'm not going where you're safe, you're secure, despite how I feel.
Right.
That is loving you, right? And that is purely what loving you is, right? When we look at the greatest example of love we have, right, with God and giving us His Son to save us, right? Despite how He felt, God was not happy with us. We were not worthy. We did not deserve it. We were all these different things. He gave up and went through the most significant pain in losing a son, watching a son get tortured for no reason when you could stop it in a heartbeat, and chose not to. Despite how he felt, he chose us.
Right.
Right? That is what love is. So most people, and I'm not saying you, so I don't know why you're taking this so personal to you.
It's not
but
that. It's,
most people
go ahead.
never experience love. They're constantly chasing a void because they've never experienced love in the first place, because they don't have a relationship with Christ. They don't know what real love is. They don't know that despite how bad I messed up, you're still choosing me no matter what, right? They don't know that true love that God shows us. So they search for things that make them feel good and feel happy to try to supplement endorphins and how hard the world is and all these different things. Like, I'm not saying love like tolerates and forgives everything. I'm not saying any of that, and it is a two-way street. I'm not arguing any of that, right? But home sweet Alabama. Hey, I can't go home with you to this place where you came from so you can file divorce officially because you're married, because I'm working on a business trip to try to set us up for life. And she goes home and, oh, he made me feel fun and alive, so I'm divorcing you. I'm going to marry him because I love him, not you. You don't love him. You love the feeling he gave you, right? But we're told to love the one we marry. So despite how anyone else in this world makes me feel, I will always choose what is best for you. I don't care what anyone else does. It's irrelevant, right? I am told to love you. I love you. So I don't care what anybody else offers me in this world. I don't care what anyone else says in this world. I don't care what anything does. Like, I will choose what is best for you, and I will choose you every single time.
Yeah, but
and I know
that's
you
where,
do the same.
Okay, keep talking. I'm gonna shut up.
So that's what I'm saying, where most people never actually experience love, and most people never actually love someone. Like, one of your favorite movies right now, right? It Ends With Us, right? Despite how she
It's
felt.
actually not my favorite, but okay.
I said one of them, not your
It's
favorite.
it's actually
One of your-
not.
You've watched it 7 times in the last month.
I
so
have.
It can't be not.
I have.
Like, one of your favorites is the, what is it, Another Something? What is it? The one where she
A
plays
Simple Favor.
detective. A Simple Favor.
Yeah.
And then Another Simple Favor is the second one. So, anyway, right, despite how she felt, she wanted to stay with the good-looking doctor who made the money and she could tolerate certain things. Despite how she felt, she said, we're done because my daughter will not grow up and see that and think this is okay.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is her loving her daughter.
Yeah.
Right? 100%.
Yes.
And I'm not arguing at all that she should have left him, because 100% definitely, like, not arguing at all. Like, right? But the problem is, when we look at biblical standards and things that we are commanded through marriage and we are commanded with love and what love and stuff actually is, it's very uncomfortable to talk about nowadays because it doesn't match what we've been conditioned to think love is.
But see, and this is where we're different, because you're going to see it one way, I see it another. So you said she loved him because he was a doctor, right?
I didn't say that.
Okay, you said that she wanted to stay because he was a doctor.
I said she wanted to stay with him because he was a good-looking guy. He was a doctor. They had fun together. They went to these dinners, did all these things. She was treated nicely, had all the fun things in life, despite how she felt.
But she actually didn't care. if you actually pay attention to the beginning, she did not care that he was a doctor.
Right.
Okay.
She cared about how she made her feel, and she cared about the fact that he could take her to nice dinners and buy her.
No,
nice
actually,
stuff,
she
which
didn't.
Came from the money because he was a doctor.
No, she actually had her own business, did her own thing. But the difference is he saw her. That was it. That was it.
So she felt important.
Right.
Which is not love. She felt important.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, though, is you see it one way. And it's just a difference between men and women,
It's
right?
still just feelings.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is like you guys see it one way. You're like, oh, I need to be a doctor and like blah, 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 blah. No,
that's not what
no.
we see at all, but.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, though, is you guys see that. Well, he looked good and he did this, he did that. No, he saw her because the first moment in It Ends With Us is them on the balcony having a conversation, a deep, true conversation, and she felt heard and seen. And she sees
that he's a doctor. But anyway, so.
He didn't even tell her he was a doctor. He didn't even tell her he was a doctor.
Not until just got out of surgery.
Not until after. Not until after.
I don't remember.
And that's what I'm saying, though. Like,
No, so I'll tell you this part, and here's a very uncomfortable truth that most women don't want to face.
Okay.
Women file a divorce, I think statistically, I can't remember the exact number, but somewhere between like 86 and 92% of the time, right?
Yeah.
When they dove deeper into what happened in the relationship prior to them filing divorce, an outstanding rate, it was like 95% of those relationships, he had lost his job, he was in a depression,
okay,
or I can't remember what the other one was, but it was something like that, something financial. It was not because he cheated, it was not because of anything else. The man went through a hard time, he lost value in her eyes as far as the money goes, and she filed divorce.
Okay.
So when this is the outstanding evidence that men have, that's why most men feel that way. And that is completely incorrect. I'm not arguing that at all. Like that is, if I lose my job tomorrow and you left me, you can F off. See you later. Like I will rebuild with someone else and I will not think twice.
But let me go ahead and...
But I know you wouldn't do that.
No, and it's not even that. It's not even that I would or I wouldn't. The reason I would leave, and this is why. This is why. So men, listen, okay? The reason why we leave is not because you lost your job. It's facts, right? On paper, it's facts. He lost his job and now she left. That's bullshit.
Yep.
The reason is because who you become when you lose your job.
Right.
That is why.
So when the vows say for better or for worse, that's only if it's what?
No. You don't get to go that route because
I do get to go that route.
No, because there are times, okay, like my marriages, and if you want to go down that road, biblically, I should have never left.
That's not true at all.
Okay. If you go with
the moment, like there are only 2 reasons the Bible tells us we're allowed to have divorce. Both of those reasons happen in both your marriages, so you are fully allowed and given God-given permission to file a divorce.
In my second one, I was never allowed.
That's not true.
Yes.
Nope.
He put my face into the ground.
Shoved you downstairs when you were pregnant, all kinds of other stuff.
Nope, that was my first one. So don't twist them. My second one, he physically only hurt me. He never cheated. Never cheated. So in that regards, I should have never left. And that is hard. Now, do I have my opinions on it? Yes. Because my children did not need to see that that was okay. And that should have never been a thing. Did I choose forgiveness? Yes. Are we both better people? Absolutely. I don't for 2 seconds. And if anybody takes anything out of this, I don't disagree with...
Let me ask you this before you go any further. What's the 2 reasons the Bible gives us for a divorce?
Adultery and...
Sexual immorality, which it's actually defined as, but go ahead.
Wait, no, I thought there was only one.
No, there's 2.
Well, then I don't know.
2 examples.
What's the other one?
If a non-believer is trying to leave you or giving evidence of leaving you, you are to let them walk away.
But he was a believer.
Was he?
Yes. Still is.
Not arguing that if he is now or if he's not. But the thing is, Christians believe very plainly that when you are saved, the evidence of your salvation show.
Okay.
Right?
But see, and that there's a huge...
Is that showing in those situations? Like, I'm not saying he didn't mess up. I'm not saying that. Like, I have no issue with the guy.
But see, and that's where I guess I'm a huge believer in God had always had a plan for me. Like always. And I will forever stay with that because I feel like God showed me grace in my early years in life. And then I met you. And he said, okay, Anisha, because you're not wrong. Here I was scallyvanting through life thinking that I could just do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. And that was great. I never wanted to hurt anybody. I always wanted to help people. I did all the things that I should, right? But I would spend money and make more money and spend money and make more money because that's who I was. And then you taught me, okay, you need to start having respect for money, our home, how hard I work, things like that, right? Which I worked on until I was blue in the face. But then I think that taught me the sense of really like sticking things out and working on things, right? And the same with our marriage, right? I have somebody who's showing up day in, day out, even though it's hard, and God knows it's been worse in the past, but now I have to stay, and that's very hard. You sat with me the last time that I had to stay. I couldn't escape. I couldn't go drive to the mountains or do what I wanted to do. I had to stay stuck in that moment, and that was very hard, right? But what I'm doing now versus what I did in previous relationships was hard. I stayed, right? I stayed as long as I could physically stay. And don't let's see. I stayed for probably all of the wrong reasons. Does that make sense? So women, if you're hearing this and you hear anything, stay for the right reasons. Sit and write it down. Like in my first marriage, I stayed because I didn't want to be divorced. In my second one, I stayed because I couldn't go through that again. Right? And in my third one, I think I was ashamed and embarrassed, and at that point thinking nobody else could ever love me. I stay now because truly of love. And I think that's where we will probably forever differ. Was I had a long, hard road to get to where we're at now. Versus, I mean, I was 26, you were 21. You know what I mean? Like I had already had kids, I had already been going through 22. Life. 22, whatever. And I had already been going through life and all of the things, and I had already had a rough road where yours wasn't quite that. You know what I mean? So you've endured different things than I have. Now, does that make yours any less valuable than mine? No, but by biblical sense, I should have stayed. And that's a very hard concept for people nowadays, is they will stay at all fault and start to diminish themselves. Like you brought out a side of me I didn't even know that I needed to find again. And you love me enough to say, like, find you or find the joy that you need or whatever. But also you brought me back to God way closer than I ever have. Even though during my second marriage, that's when I was saved, right? Like that should have been who my husband was. And yet I'm not finding that until my fourth marriage. You see what I'm saying? And he would have never delivered me there because of what we had went through. So, and you know, the way he is with his wife now, you know, it is a totally different person, right? Like, so I think that's where God has a plan for us all along. Now, do I think at every sense in the moment you should be jumping out of a relationship because things go not how you want? No. But I do believe that there has to be sometimes gray areas, in my opinion.
Okay. So I'll just say this. When you start leaning on your understanding and you start saying what you think and how you feel and I feel like and I think there should be, you have to tread extremely lightly. Because,
yeah.
You know, the
and I prayed, so let me say that.
Well, and here's the thing. In Judges 19, it actually refers to physical violence, as far as extreme physical violence in a relationship as that. So that's where I'm kind of like, I'm letting you have your talk about it, but like, depending on who you ask contextually, like it does talk about extreme physical abuse being grounds for divorce. So that's a different conversation. But that's not my issue. My issue with most of what you said, not most of it, I shouldn't say that, but my issue with that part of it comes to, once again, like, when you start putting your thoughts, your feelings, I feel like there should be gray, there should be this and that, above what Scripture tells us, you start flirting with the mark of the beast.
Yeah, and okay, so let me say, if Christ is not the center of your relationship, I mean, our relationship was very rocky for a long time too. So if Christ is not the center of your relationship, it's doomed to fail anyways. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to disagree that there wasn't things there, but at the end of the day, the love for my kids and God's grace is what had me move on. Do you see what I'm saying? There was a peace inside of me, and women, if there's anything I can encourage you most to do, is truly listen. Your love for God should be greater than anything else in any other sense of the word, and He will bring you that peace and that grace to say, I need to leave. There's never been a time in 10 years that, yes, I may want to leave on my own feeling, right? But there's never been a peace inside of me that says it's time to walk away from this marriage. So I can say that confidently because when I left my other ones, it was like a simple nudge from God that says it's time, right? Like, it wasn't like I was just angry and I left. There was a plan. He executed the plan. He helped me with the plan. Like, there was no way as a single mother of 3 small children that it should have worked that I was able to leave, right? Like, it shouldn't have been a thing. But that's where I say I have experienced God's grace in saying, I'm going to help you with this. And then I have been delivered, again, by the grace of God, a husband who really did do exactly what the Bible says, right? It's not easy and it's hard, but like, I'm now living proof that because of God's grace, I was able to be delivered here. You see what I'm saying? I think that's where it's very hard, because I'm not trying to say that there's gray areas. I just think there are, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if I should have just went off Scripture, it would have been, you have to stay.
No, it wouldn't have been.
Okay.
So, and even then, I mean, the Bible calls that you guys can separate, and at separation, if he decides to sleep with someone else, then you still have that right to divorce. So those are completely different subjects, right? So we can argue if your leaving was justified or not. If I didn't think they were justified, I wouldn't be with you.
Okay.
So that's kind of an irrelevant subject with it, right? Like, I think it's very dangerous when people say God had a plan, and then in your plan you talk about sin.
What? Okay, but what sin are you talking about?
So even for example, like, you know, your firstborn, right? You weren't married when you had them, stuff like that, right? So talking about how God had a plan for the XYZ and da-da-da, it's very dangerous that God had a plan and that plan was for you to sin.
Okay, but I didn't, first off, let's be clear. I mean, I went to church and I knew God and all that, but when I had my son, I was not saved. And even when I had my daughter, I was not saved. So after my youngest daughter, that's when I got saved, right?
And once again, like that, and that has nothing to do with it, right? Like,
okay.
You're still diving too deep into details in yourself.
Okay.
I'm saying, in a general speak, a lot of people say, well, God has a plan for everything and all this stuff. The Bible tells us God will make all things work for the good of those who love him. I will make all things work for the good of those who love me.
Right.
It doesn't say God has a plan where, because now you're going to get into predestination. You're going to get into God creating people specifically to sin and to do certain things. And it's a very dangerous conversation, right? So
So can you elaborate on that then? Because I guess that part I'm genuinely confused on. Because it's always supposed to be God's plan, not yours.
God
right?
did have a plan.
Okay,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm
God
saying.
had a plan, but that doesn't mean God forced certain things to happen in every situation. I think that's where people get a little too construct-wise. If you're saying God forced things to happen in an exact certain way, then now you're saying we don't have free will. If we don't have free will, then whosoever chooses to believe in him is an invalid statement. So to argue against free will is to argue against Scripture itself. So I don't believe in anyone who says it's 100% predestination and we don't have freedom of choices and all these different things, right? So I think there's an elaboration that can be had in that conversation, but that's a very deep and theological conversation. It's really hard to do, and we're not going to have it on a 20-minute conversation on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where it gets very dangerous. So God gave us free will. He chose to give us free will so that we can choose to live with him here on earth and for eternity, or we can choose not to be with him and choose to, perish, right? So he gave us that choice. God had a plan. In the beginning was the Word was with God, right? Christ was there from the beginning. And when we see the very flow of Christ's first miracle, when we see the very flow of Adam and Eve, in the very beginning with Adam and Eve, we get to see an example of Christ coming, right? Mm-hmm. That is God's plan. He knew from the beginning, and even in, I'm going to say it's 2 Timothy, I'm not 100% certain, but I think it's 2 Timothy, where Paul even says that in the very beginning, God knew, and from the very beginning of time, he gave us Christ. That was God's plan.
So then
he knew that.
Let me ask you this then. So when I say God's grace got me to where I'm at,
okay,
that part I don't really know that you can change my mind on.
I don't disagree with that.
But then when I say that
God made them work for the good of you. That's God's grace. That's God's love helping you through situations and working for you.
Right,
better.
and I'm not going to disagree on that. But what I'm saying is when I say I genuinely believe God had a plan, what is your theory on that?
So, man, this is like the really hard theological part of things, right? Because God is outside of time. So the example I try to give people is kind of like if you've ever seen the Avengers, the Loki spinoff thing, where Loki's here, this is the timeline.
Yeah.
Like that's God. God is outside of the timeline.
Okay,
that's
so
how he's
hold on.
omnipresent. That's how he knows the beginning. He knows the end. He is the beginning and end. Like,
I don't want to stop you. Hold on. What I want to do is I want to try to have this explained a little bit better for viewers, right? So what I'm saying is, when I say, okay, because again, I'm going off a feeling, okay, so I just want you to elaborate a little bit more on this in a better sense to where they can understand. Because when I say God had a plan, right, I now feel like I do truly understand what love is. This is very hard to stay in. It's very hard to love you and to stay even when I want to leave. Yeah, but based off of past trauma, right? Like a lot of it, and you've seen this, right? You've seen me tell you, this is not you. I understand this is not you. This is me. You're triggering something inside of me, a feeling I didn't know was going to come out until a situation, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, it's very hard to not say, oh, I'm going to try to do this without crying. I think we're all searching for that sense of, I was molested, I was raped, I was beaten, I was cheated on, I was made to feel like I was nothing. So at the end of it, right, you're telling me that God didn't have a plan for me all along, to say like, I'm going to serve you to somebody that does love you, that does respect you, that does not want to hurt you. Like, that is what I'm saying. Because somewhere out there, and let me finish before I finish this, and I know that we don't have very many viewers right now, and I'm sure that we will have more, but to the young woman or young mother or little girl that's out there that is struggling with any of the things that I just listed, God's grace will get you to where I am at now. And this is what I can hope that you take away. And I want you to truly be able to hear this, which is why I rephrased what I was saying. Because when you're face down on the ground, or you're going through a situation that's that rough and not understanding, you can't find hope in those situations.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get you to do here is to speak to one of those girls that may not feel like they're ever going to get there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that's where I think it's always, okay, God has a plan. God has a plan. You see, you hold on to that hope of like,
Right.
someday I'm going to be delivered from this pain that I've had to endure. Does that make sense?
Well, and there's two ways you can go about this, right? So you're saying I'm going through this, God has a plan. And
Right.
yeah, scripture says I will make all things work for the good of you. Like,
Right.
this situation is awful, but I know God will make this work for the good of me,
Yeah.
right? The devil is given domain to do things on this earth. Like, God granted him the ability to do these things, right? We see in the book of Job, he went through just about as bad as you can go through. You know, he lost his all but his wife, which is a fun little topic we can really rabbit hole deep into as well. But without doing that, you know, he lost his kids, he lost his farms, he had like these sores on himself, he had all these issues, like he lost everything. And God gave him everything back, you know, in a multiplication of what he had. You know, the earth is trial grounds for us. Like, that's where I think a lot of people have an internal conflict, because, like, if God dictated everything that had to happen every single day with every person, we don't have free will, we don't have love, right? So we know we have that. So in order to it be actually free will, he has to let the bad things happen with the good, right? If I say, hey man, you have free will to do whatever you want, and you do something I don't like, and I stop you, do you actually have free will? So, but what he says is, hey, I know this person's wronging you and this is hard, I'm gonna make it work for the best of you, I promise. And that's that God has a plan to hold on to. And like you said, you know, at the end, I know he's gonna deliver me for this, at the end, I know, you know, X, Y, Z. You're absolutely right, but the problem is we're so caught up in the earth and earthly things that we're thinking the end of this is in 2 weeks.
Right.
It's not. You know, like the Bible says, this too shall pass. Like, good things, bad things, great things, horrible things, this too shall pass. If you're so caught up in, you know, the 60 years we live on this earth, it makes things a lot harder. Like, you're right, God will deliver you from this. And when you pass away, you know, we only as Christians experience death once. And that's when we die to ourselves and are born a new creature. That's it. Like, our physical body, you know, some people refer to it as a deep sleep or whatever, which is not, not the best analogy in my opinion, but like, that's the only time we experience actual death, right? So we just get so tied up in the earthly moments of things. And when you start to argue some of those things, you kind of go into a real slippery slope of, oh, if God was all-knowing, all-powerful, and loved us, he wouldn't let this happen. You know, if he has a plan, why is his plan for me to go through this? You start to almost taint who God is, and It's just such an earthly understanding, right? God says, I'm going to allow these things to happen. I'm giving you guys free will, letting you make your own decisions, good or bad. And those who love me, I will make things work for the good of you, right? So like with you and the things you went through in your past, you will be able to speak to women in a way that I will never be able to. Mm-hmm. You will be able to help people through situations I will never be able to. And I am fully aware of that. You know, even like when I was younger and like my parents split and like things happened, I got them with bad crowds and all these different things. Like I've been able to talk to kids and help kids. And, you know, at the time I was like, man, why is this happening? Like, I don't understand. And now looking back, I'm like, you know what? I never would have been able to talk to this kid and possibly, you know, be the steward Christ uses to lead him to Christ if I couldn't relate to him and have these conversations. So it's like the things I went through led me to developing into a better person and different things, and eventually down the road led me to you. He used those things for the greater good of me to bring me to you. And then he used the terrible things I used for the greater good to shepherd and talk to someone else and lead them to Christ. Like, he uses those bad situations. He doesn't say, I'll avoid them. He doesn't say they're going to go away. He doesn't say these things.
So when...
That's just where it's hard. Like, life just sucks sometimes.
So when... Because, of course, per usual, we're off topic here, but I feel like this is such a moment that needs to be said. When there is somebody, so like for me, entering the relationship with you, knowing that you weren't going to cheat, lie, whatever all the things are, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a young woman, or even a woman with experience, I guess I want to say, because I don't want to say older woman, but with somebody that is going into a new relationship, right, that has these past traumas with things I've been through, or some of the things I've been through, what is one thing from a man's side that you would say, like, that she should do, or whatever? Because obviously we went through all of this, 10 years of this, and the beginning was not, and there's still times that it's not great, but like, what is something that you would have hoped for that maybe you could give advice for?
Man, that's such a hard one, because it's like, these things are always so much easier said than done. Like,
they are, but like, I think if you know, like...
Yeah, but it doesn't, like, anyone trying to get in a relationship, period, like, Paul tells us it's easier to stay single the rest of your life than to be married. You know,
Facts.
And he even says, like, the only time you should get married, in his opinion, or kind of just even biblically speaking, and Christ said the same thing, is like, if you cannot control your urges and et cetera, and you need to have a partner, then get married, but understand what you are committing to.
Right.
If not, it's better for you to stay single. When you go through stuff, and we have these things that happen on earth, and especially when your identity is so tied to the earth and earthly things, until you're healed, you are not ready to date somebody. And being alone is uncomfortable, but you need to be alone if you need to. And this is where, like, today's society sucks so bad. Because
so what do you say to that, though, then? Sorry, go ahead. It's fine.
But this is where today's society sucks so bad, because, like, biblically speaking, my daughters should never move out of my house until they get married.
Okay.
Period. Biblically speaking, you should not have a job. You should just be helping me with things I need, things around the house, the kids, stuff like that. You know, in today's world, that's almost impossible. It is almost impossible to live off one income, right? And for the men out there or the women out there who can live off one income, like, congrats to you. I tip my hat to you. That's an amazing thing. But it's almost impossible. And, you know, or you have to live so lowly, which is so hard. And that's part of the way that our faith is tested, right? Like, do I trust God to help provide for us? or am I going to take matters in my own hand and do X, Y, Z, right? And that's where I wrestle a lot with you working as much as you do, because part of me is like, am I failing in the sense as a father and a husband, which most days I feel like I am. But even in that sense, it's like, okay, like you're helping me grow this thing, you're helping me, and we use this to minister, and we use this to talk to people. So like, I try to rationalize it in my head like that, but it's hard. So like in today's world, it is hard to stay single. It is hard to work on past traumas, and you're gonna have a million people coming at you telling you that it's okay, you're fine, you're perfect how you are, like this was blah, blah, blah. Like, first off, you have to accept you're not perfect. Like, you're not perfect, but there's a perfect being who designed you that way.
If you have friends that tell you that, get rid of them.
Yeah, and the thing is, even like
or
in our
ask them
relationship,
to be honest.
yeah, even in our relationship, like if we're having issues, I am only permitted to talk to fellow Christians about our marriage in the sense that I am asking them what I need to be doing better. I am not permitted biblically to go to my friends and be like, man, she's doing this, I just don't know what to do, yada, yada. Like, I am not permitted to go to them and talk down about you. I'm not permitted to go to them and talk about specific issues we're having in that sense. I am permitted to go to them and talk to them about what I could be doing better in my sense of me, not us, not you. And that's what we have to get back to focusing on.
Shout out to my best friend for that.
Is focusing on us. And the Bible tells us, when you find a wife, you have found your good thing. You are a wife before I married you. You just became my wife when I married you, right? You're a wife, you're a husband when you're there. Like, I hate when I see these girls like, oh, I see potential in them. Like, there's no potential. Either he's a husband or he's not. Like, if you're seeing potential, cool. Then in 2 or 3 years when he reaches his potential, then you can date him. Like, stop chasing and hoping for what people will become, and because you're like, oh, he changed. He didn't change. He just wasn't who you thought he was. Like, and that's why I hate the term narcissistic and love bombing. I Googled it because I didn't know what that was. I hate that term because it's like there's no self-accountability in any of that. Like, I am the one responsible to decipher if you are a wife or not. So to be like, oh, she tricked me, like, yeah, it's my fault. I got tricked. But we don't look at it that way. You know, we blame other people and say how evil they are. Yeah, there's evil in this world. Yeah, we know that. We're supposed to be able to work through that and all these things. Like, that's not new. And I definitely believe in calling it out when it's there. It's not like that. But you've got to heal yourself. You've got to get in a place where you're there before you ever should be with someone else. So if you're still battling all these past traumas and triggers, your traumas are your responsibility. They're not your husband's to deal with. They're yours.
Okay, but
or
how do you go about saying, like, you should be healed before you get in a relationship? Because if that's the sense, then
Yep.
you and I should have never been together.
Which is why when you proposed to me at 2 years in, I said no.
And I still wasn't healed up until, well, I'm still not healed. Lord, I'm still fighting through stuff.
Well, and there's a difference between dealing with stuff and growing through stuff and being healed.
And I would say truly
Right.
about a year ago was when I really started trying to heal. Like,
I'd
instead
say
of
a
running.
year or two ago is when you were really trying to grow from it, not when you were
Yeah.
trying to heal,
Yeah.
which is also extremely uncomfortable, right?
I think I finally started facing it about a year or 2 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of
Well,
it
and-
before that, I was running from it.
And a big part of it too is like when you get in marriage, like stop acting like there's a backdoor escape to get out of. Like there's several times where we've argued and we fought, and I've told you straight to your face, like we're figuring this out, or we're just gonna be pissed at each other for a while, and that's fine either way. But like divorce isn't an option. Like
Yeah.
this is either gonna be really awkward in the house for the next 2 weeks, or we're gonna figure it out. Like it never crosses my mind that it's an option, right? Like I vowed to God to be with you until I die, unless you cheat on me or whatever.
But let
right?
me tell you this. So and this is one thing I don't think we've ever actually, I don't think I've ever said it to you ever. But the reason for the arguments on wanting to, the reason for the divorce is A, so I can leave the situation before you can
Right.
hurt me, but B, it's also I don't want to say validation that you love me, but I want to say that it's the love bombing that I was used to, right? So
Right.
like they would screw up and then it was like, "Oh yeah, but I love you." So then it's like I'm going to shower you with all these things. Well,
Yeah.
I was hurt, right? I was hurt because they had cheated, lied, whatever. But then it was like, "Okay, but this is now how it's fixed." Now, like that's what I was used to. That was my repetitive behavior, right? Like for many years. Well, 10 years before I knew you.
Yeah.
So then now I understand that love is, especially within the last 2 years, it hasn't been pleasant between having you as my husband and then also having a best friend that doesn't let me get away with shit either. Like, that's like, hey, fucking fix your shit.
Yeah.
You know, which is nice, but you start to
Too much
attract
doesn't
those.
answer my phone calls.
Yeah. But you start to attract those people in your life that are really truly going to help you when you start walking with Christ. Like the friends that I have now, shout out to some of my very new best friends, but we're working hard on those as well. Like, you know, it's fighting for those relationships because you also see they're no longer surface level relationships.
Right.
Like, but I had to start removing myself from that love bombing. So I had to, like you said, I had to start healing and addressing my trauma.
And that's where I talked about the fake love part of it, right? Because you're like, oh, they're validating me because they're spoiling me and trying to make me feel special and these things. Like that's not love.
Right.
That's a feeling. Like, and that's and when you chase those things, you'll always be in a shallow relationship. You'll always be searching for more of that. And that's never where she comes. I've never bought you flowers because I messed up and I want to make her feel special. Like I've bought you flowers because like, man, like I really hope like this just makes her feel good. And I hope this makes her happy and like I know she appreciates them. And it's never
Women,
been,
find the man that buys you flowers on a random Tuesday, not your birthday.
That's off one of the movies too, by the way. Anyway,
it is facts though. I really appreciate
that. I
them.
bought you flowers on a Tuesday, but your birthday is today.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love flowers on my birthday, but
I know.
I appreciate them so much more when it's a surprise.
But like I said, and that's the difference. And when love is conditional, and affection becomes dependent on, you know, resurgence, then it's not love. It's not a real relationship to begin with, and it's just complicated with those little things, right? Like it's super simple. It's complicated because it's against almost everything we're taught nowadays in life.
And it's simple, like when you're taught, like the only time you're supposed to get together with family is on holidays, right? Which is why we eat. We do all the things that make us feel good.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, food. So here's the thing, like the original
we're rabbit holing again.
Yeah, the original temptation that happened, the first temptation when the devil went to Eve, it was pride and then flesh, right? And he went to Christ, it was pride and then flesh, right? So absolutely, food is one of the primary things that the devil uses against us. And that's why our food nowadays is ridiculed in chemicals and hormones and enzymes. It's got people just absolutely out of whack.
Yeah.
Because now we can't think clearly, and which is part of the reason the Bible tells us not to trust our thoughts, not to lean on our understanding, not to trust our heart, but to depend on Scripture. And then, you know, going back to your friends thing, you know, I'll give Brayson a shout out. You know, he started out as a client of mine and grew into one of my best friends. At his speech, which I don't know if you got to see it or not, at his speech at the academy, he said, he brought up, you know, the classic iron sharpens iron, just as one man sharpens another, right?
Yeah.
And we hear that all the time, and it is a cool, like, it's nothing against it, like, right? You know, he brought up like one of the coolest perspectives of it I think I've ever heard. And like, I guess it's there, but we never think about it. But he's like, you know, iron sharpens iron just as one man sharpens another. He's like, and when you have real friends, being sharpened is a painful process.
Yeah.
Having that much friction, having something like rub on you to sharpen you and knock stuff off and like do these things, like that's painful. That's uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Real friends will be uncomfortable. They will be hard. They will be pushing you to get better, which is a very uncomfortable process. Like, and for most people, they shelter off, screw him, he's being a jerk, and this, that, like, which is so common nowadays. But it talks about that, and to confirm that, the Bible says, the wounds of a friend out of love are more sincere than the kisses of an enemy, right? Which I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But basically it just says, like, yeah, like, real friends are going to call you out and it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to suck. That's a real friend. That's who you need to keep. Versus the fake friends who are kissing your butt. No, you're perfect. He's just a jerk, or she's just a, and you deserve better, and you should. And they're just like, he's like, stay away from those people. Like, that's not who you should be around. Like, and that's where I tell people all the time, like,
which is why I think I say all the time, like, I truly tell people to marry their best friend. Like, I genuinely can come to you with a problem.
Right. See, and that's a phrasing we disagree with too. But go ahead.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like, I do understand there's a difference between, like, a husband and a wife.
Well,
but also,
we're not best friends. Like, and I'll say this plainly, and I know you disagree with it, but we're not best friends. We are one flesh.
Yeah.
To say one flesh is best friends with itself is
But I feel like you
right?
start there,
like,
right? Like, we started as friends, and we were very honest with each other, and we were very real with each other, and we were there for each other when we needed to be. So, like, I think that's what I'm saying is like.
Well, I think courting's a beautiful thing. It's nothing like that. Like, in the old days, I know it wasn't necessarily tradition for them to be courted. Like, a lot of times marriages were arranged, and the Bible tells us to love who we're with and, like, choose
So
those
I guess
things. But
I guess I should say, like, date your best friend, right? And then you become one, like, type thing. Because I do think, like.
Well, and I agree, because, like I said, despite today's viewpoint, marriage is the second most important thing you'll ever do on this earth. Like, who you choose as your partner is insanely important.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to dictate your mood a lot of times. They're going to dictate your quality of life a lot of times. They're going to dictate all these different things.
Well, and it's who you spend, all of your time with. So, it's just, you can either become very toxic, or you can,
Well, and, like, you have a power over me that no one else on this earth does.
Right.
Or ever will.
Right.
Like, when you can speak to me and make me want to conquer the world, or you can speak to me and make it feel like I have nothing and who cares.
Right.
And that's something that's very, very intimate and way more real than I think people really grasp and understand. So that's where it's very critical, and that's why, like, I've never known a single person to apply biblical concepts to their life and their life got worse. Like, I'm not saying
hard.
Yeah, I'm not saying life doesn't get harder, because absolutely, like, the devil doesn't attack his own. Why would he? I mean, we were to see that in Scripture repeatedly. Why would he attack his own? Like, that's ludicrous.
Right.
I don't know where that comes from. I've never said ludicrous before in my life. But anyway. But that's so when you do that, like, and that's the thing, like, the devil didn't come in the picture until there was two people. The devil didn't come in the picture until there was a marriage, because marriage was God's construct, a vow between the three of us, me, you, and God, to pass down the love, the knowledge, and all these different things of God, right? Because we didn't have books back then. Like, it was stories. Like, and that's why I should know more as the husband. I should know more about Scripture, more about the Bible, more about these things than anyone else in my family. And if I don't, that's a problem.
Right.
So, like, and that's why I tell wives, like, or girls, I should say, it's so important when you're deciding your husband to understand who he is and hold those standards and have those standards before he becomes your husband. Don't think, oh, well, if we get married, you have to start. No, like, he needs to be that and then become. You are, and then you become. If I want to be a pro athlete, I do things pro athletes do, and then I will become a pro athlete. If I want to be a husband, I will do things that husbands do, and then I will become a husband, right? So, and that's, and these standards I tell people, and we talk about, like, this is for marriage. This is not for dating. Like, I hope people understand that. Like, when we talk about certain things, especially, like, certain respects, certain titles, certain things, like for lack of a better term, like the submission to me and XYZ, like, that is strictly when I am your husband. That is not when we are dating. That is not when we're engaged. you know.
But those are things that, if I'm correct, you should start practicing
No.
when you are
Absolutely not.
dating, right?
Nope, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. When I'm dating, I'm strictly getting to know you. Who are you? What do you decide? What do you value? All these different things. I am not going to give you the satisfaction of being treated like my wife, being treated like my husband until you are. And that's
But
where
then how
modern
do you go
dating
back-
is so conflicted, right? Because nowadays we date, we move in together, we get engaged, we get married. None of that is how that's supposed to go, right? But that's just how it is nowadays.
But then
So-
how do you go back to what you were just saying, right? Like if you want to be a pro athlete, you should be doing all the things that pro athletes are doing.
Right.
So how do you, like when you said like if you want
Yeah.
to
Because-
become a husband, you should be doing
If
So like is that just are
No,
you
no, no.
meaning like
So,
are you meaning just your relationship
if a
with
young
God?
man comes to me right now
Yeah.
wanting to marry my daughter or
Okay.
wanting to date my daughter or whatever you want to call it, don't care. I'm going to look at him. Do you put other people in front of yourself? How do you treat your mother, right? As a son, you are told to treat your mother basically how you would treat your wife in the future, right?
Okay.
So does he respect his mother? Does he do stuff for her? Does he sacrifice himself for her? Does he do these things and XYZ? So how is that? Number two, does he have a relationship? Is he God-focused? Because if you're not God-focused, you're not a Christian, in my eyes, which I know is not popular, you're not getting married anyway. Marriage is 100% biblical. The fact that the government thinks they had any right to adopt it and go into it is absolute horse crap. Like, it has nothing to do with them. They should have stayed out of it. If they want to have their union or recognize stuff, that's up to them. But to say that, hey,
Kind of like an outward expression of being like when you're baptized type thing, right? Is that kind of what you're saying? Like
well, not really. Christ says, this is what I'm establishing as marriage. And government stepped in and said, okay, we're going to recognize that, but you have to sign a paper with us, and you can get a divorce with us, and we allow anyone to get married, whether they're religious or not, and we allow same-sex marriages, and we allow, and we allow, and we allow. Government stepped in and modified what Christ gave us. And if in today's world, they're like, hey, you know what, like, this is what marriage is. We want something identical to it, but without God. Cool. Call it something else. Make your own version of it. You don't have a right to tell us how marriage should be, right? You don't have a right to come into my house and say, I don't like chocolate chip cookies. You should make snickerdoodle, right?
I do.
And
No.
and that's one of my biggest issues I have with that. So does he have so back to that point. So like, how's he treat his mom? Does he have a relationship with her? Is he a hard worker? Do I know he'll do that and protect her? And like, when he walks into me, how does he respect me and treat me, right?
Yeah.
Like, children are charged with very specific things, and if those things are done, then it translates to, yes, this is a young husband,
Okay.
right? So, and that's where, I tease you, and I know
So
we disagree
basically,
on that.
he
I don't
should
believe
start-
the girls should be allowed to be dating right now, right?
So,
They're
like,
not
he
marrying
should
somebody
be-
at 17. They shouldn't be doing that stuff.
Well, back in the
Like-
day, they did.
Well, nowadays they're not. So, but that's my point. Like, my daughters are not wives yet. I would not let either one of my daughters get married. They're not ready to be wives.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though, is they should start aligning with God more than they should be like practicing the things that it says as to be a husband.
Yeah.
Right? Because
well, and
I think
that's part of the issue is nowadays we're searching for how can I be a wife and a husband and find a husband.
Right.
Not how can we find God? And like I said,
Right.
there are very important people in the Bible. You know, Paul wrote over a dozen books of the Bible and never once got married. So like, we're chasing marriage instead of chasing Christ.
Yeah.
And then deciding to come together with someone else.
And that's what I'm saying, because nowadays you see most girls who like right after school, right after they get out of high school, it's like, okay, I'm going to get married and I'm going to have kids and I'm going to cook and I'm going to clean and I'm going to do all these things, right?
Yeah.
But they're not focused on God first. They're focused on...
And we see all the time where young kids are dating and they try to act like they're married. And it's like, you're not.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
knock that off. You're not.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a product of the environment you have. It's a product of today's society. And that's why, like, I know most of these things I say, people are not going to like at all, and I don't really care.
Ooh, next episode,
But,
we should totally bring you and Kayla on.
ooh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Just kidding. He's like, nope, not right before the wedding. No, please no.
But And that's, like I said, that's the biggest thing. And I hope people truly understand, like I have my biblical standards, I have my belief, I will never sway from my belief, and I will follow it to a T. You can either believe the Bible or you cannot. There's no in between. I hate when people try to take stuff. It's different nowadays. No, God gave us the structure. Yeah. Just because we are changing does not mean He or His structure is changing.
I think there's just so many different versions of the Bible now that's what gets hard. Because like the NLT, the NLT one that I had, I didn't realize, which I do think it was a beautiful thing. If for anybody that is struggling, I read the NLT. I do think it was the wrong time in my life to read the NLT.
Don't read the NLT.
Huh?
Don't read the NLT.
No, because the reason I say that is because I did truly get to see that somebody else was writing this out of their own perspective. I really could tell that. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is wrong.
And there's problems when you try to translate phrasing and phrases versus words, right?
Yeah, but now that
obviously to a degree we do that regardless. Like to a degree, like Hebrew, Greek are very different languages than English. They're more poetic, we're more direct.
Well, and now that I'm reading my ESV, I can really see since I had read the NLT before.
I like ESV a lot. One of the only reasons I know some people don't like it is there's a few scriptures that quote unquote aren't in it. Every ESV I've ever had, the couple of scriptures that aren't in it are at the bottom, and they actually put like a little paragraph explaining why it's at the bottom instead of in the script with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's because we found manuscripts that don't have those verses in them.
They are really great for studying. So I really do enjoy it for studying.
So if you're diehard, no, those should be in it. They're in there. You can read them and just read them and keep going about your day. If we want to talk about issues with where things come from, then we can argue every single, I know a lot of people are diehard KJV that came back, and I can show you mistranslations in the KJV. Not necessarily, I shouldn't say mistranslations but like not necessarily accurate, right? Like it's not 7 of each kind, it's 7 pairs, right? Like we know that when we study Hebrew. It's not thou shalt not kill, it's thou shalt not murder. It's shedding of innocent blood, it's ill intent killing. It's not self-defense, it's not killing animals, it's not etc., right? Mm-hmm. So like that's where I think some of those phrasings isn't necessarily the most accurate. I shouldn't say mistranslated, but maybe accurate. And then for a lot of people, they don't understand Old English, so they're not going to really get a lot out of it. So I don't feel like, and I know there's going to be people who rebuttal both ways, and that is what it is. Like we can debate that if you want. It's not really something I care to debate. Like if you feel convicted to read the KJV, read it. The ones I don't agree with are the ones who change phrasing, right?
Yeah.
So.
But to circle back, because I know A, we're running out of time, and B, I have to get on to my next. I have a meeting in about a half hour. So to circle back, all the way back to the beginning, because we rabbit holed again. Obviously, my first one was communication.
Yep.
My second one was respect in whatever sense, however you kind of put that. I do think that, like I said, respect and love and everything kind of has to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I guess ultimately it should be first and foremost, I guess, for women, you have to have self-respect first. And then I guess what I should be after having this whole conversation, you should know what you're asking out of your husband, more or less than the love and the affection, because I had a lot of love and affection in my previous marriages, and that still led to complete destruction and detrimental fall. So that is why I don't necessarily believe in the whole like love affection type thing, because by standards nowadays, I guess there was a lot of love and affection and
that's
appreciation there.
Yeah, it's not love and affection.
Well, yeah,
that was garbage. But we won't go into that.
Yeah.
But the Bible tells us, it says, husbands, love your wives, wives, respect your husbands.
Right.
And that's the main reason. Is I think there's a small distinction between the two as far as how they're done, right? I completely understand what you're saying, and I think it is absolutely a form of respect, but I think it's more evolved into loving than it is just respect. Because like I said, with the key difference to me is like, if I say, hey, this is what we're doing, and you go, okay, that's respect to me, right? And that would mean the world to me, because it's like, okay, she fully trusts me, she fully respects me, like this makes my life easier, I can do all these things, like this is awesome. Versus with you, it's more of a, hey, she's doing these things, I don't need to make it harder for her, so I should do this, or I should recognize what she's doing, I should, right? Which is more love than respect. But like I said, it's an evolved form of respect that becomes, we'll call love, right? And like I said, the actual love, not the feeling, the ooey gooey, I'm gonna buy you flowers and kisses, like actual love of, despite how I feel, I don't want to stop and take my shoes off at the door. I love you, so I will.
Right.
Right. So
anyways, rabbit hole again, but I don't know if we were going into what men need. That's what this one was supposed to be.
No, it's fine. We were finishing up that one.
Okay.
First one we did communication. This one's.
So next episode, we'll go into what men need. Also, I know some of you are here for the drama and the theatrics, and while I love that, and what you guys want or need, we do also have a very big sense of respect for each other, in the fact that we will not post things if we feel like it is not informative, or if we do not feel like it is productive. So you're not going to see us go Love is Blind and flip out on each other and get nowhere in the situation. We want to bring things that you can truly sense to understand, and to be able to hopefully help. So please don't hesitate. Bring things to us that you would like to see. Obviously, you're going to see some tough conversations. You're going to see some that probably are a little more theatrical than others. Probably a little drama-filled as we work through whatever the conversation is. But we are not here to downgrade each other, and we are not here to place blame or hurt on each other. We are here to simply try to help work through things we have been through to be able to help others. So please be kind in the comments. If you don't have anything that is productive or helpful, there's no point in sharing it. We really want to be able to cover things that you guys are interested in. Obviously, hate comments, cool, go ahead, keep going, I guess. They don't get us anywhere but more views, so love you, shout out for that. But we really are looking for interactive, people on both Spotify and YouTube, because we want to cover things that maybe most people won't cover. So let us know if you would like to see a guest speaker, or you would like for us to cover something different. Let us know, and as always, we're just here to bring whatever we can to the table.
Yeah, and I know a lot of times, I say things without diving super deep into explanation or context. So if there is something that you're like, hey, I don't really know why he thinks that, or I don't really agree with it, or whatever it is, feel free to comment. I'll gladly elaborate. There's going to be things that maybe we just don't agree on, and that's perfectly fine. Like, you're more than entitled to your opinion.
Debates are fun.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, who am I to overthrow God? If God gave you the right to have your opinion and your free will, then I'm never going to go against that. So we can absolutely disagree on things, and that's just fine. Like, I'm still gonna respect you and still love you in whatever way I can. But so if there's anything specific you want us to elaborate on or talk about, maybe there's something you guys are struggling with, and we can talk about if we've experienced anything similar and how we got through it, or whatever it may be. But until next time.
This is Married Too.
Peace out.
Wow, 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 wow.
You.